Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the first review show of the week. It's Monday, right? It feels like we haven't done one in so long, right?
I missed it, Mo. I gotta be honest,
No,
man.
oh,
It's
well,
it, it
I've missed it. I've missed you too, Roy. I've
I miss
been,
doing this. I miss talking to you.
oh man, it,
As
it
good
was
as
it was a
family
t-
is.
it was a tough week, man. It
It
was a
was.
tough week going through like all these shows and not having to do this. It was like wow,
Yeah.
but
Where's
yeah,
my partner in decompressing about these? But I'm glad we can
right.
start with because you
And you know
just hopped
what?
off this show.
Yes, I did. And to be very honest, if this had happened, if this episode had happened last week, I think I'd have needed a week off. If we weren't like no, honestly, if we weren't gonna be able to sit down and talk about it, because I think with Lord of the Rings or Rings of Power, I shared with you my thoughts, right? Honestly, and then it hit me. I was like, doing this makes almost every show bearable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though, like for you, I think it was the couple episodes of this Game of Thrones show. You were like, you know what? Talking about it made it okay. I think it was the Rings of Power. You were like talking about it bumped the grade up. So
Mm-hmm.
honestly, like yeah. But if this episode, like I needed to be very honest, I needed this. So thank you for being
I'm very happy to be here. I'm real excited to talk about this episode, which is uh man. So what's the best way to put this episode? It was intense, I guess would be
Yes, definitely
particularly the
intense is the word.
final 30-ish minutes, 20-ish minutes were very intense.
Oof.
I will say though, this was the ugliest episode, like on a like visual
Oh
level
yeah,
of
oh yeah,
any of these episodes so far. Like I literally thought if this was Rings of Power, I'd actually be able to see what was going on. I'm not even talking about the sex scene, which I was glad, which was dark. But like
great.
I couldn't even see Damon and Rhaenyra when they were like acting at each other. I was like, what is this? Like, are we watching this the Battle of Winterfell again? Like, I can't see
Yeah,
anything.
we were definitely watching the Battle of Winterfell. You see, the thing is, I think the budget, they're running out of budget
It
after
felt
like
like it.
total
It honestly felt like that.
because you have two dragons, two, two and a
Really,
half
one
dragon
big
scenes,
dragon scene.
one big, super big dragon scene, and then a half one when the end. I'll call
Yeah.
that a half. Yeah, and then I'll give you another half. When they're in the clouds, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they're flying over the funeral procession. Funeral procession. But uh, I think the budget was running out, and they said turn. I had to turn up my brightness. They were like turn it down
We
so
need to
they
turn
don't
off
get to
all the
see it.
lights in the house.
Because I totally feel like if we were able to see Vagar, if we were really, we would be disgusted. So in a way, I'm kind of glad just for that, and also with the Renera thing, I'm glad they turned the brightness down.
I am also glad with that sex scene that they turned it down. But I think the like scene where they are like reconciling, I guess,
Oh, that was powerful.
like pre-sex, like I
Hmm.
would it would have been useful to like see the acting. I assumed Matt Smith and Rhaenyra, the Rhaenyra actress, I guess Olivia Cook is their name,
Yes.
and were acting their butts off, but I couldn't see anything. Like I just couldn't. Like I truly could not see a thing. Like it
Speaking
was really bad.
of incest,
Oh God.
I don't even know how to bring this up. So in uh someone had said, "Hey, like, this incest is gross, right?" Person was like, "Incest is gross. I don't know why the show keeps forcing it on us." And then they brought up Game of Thrones and said, "Hey, so with Game of Thrones, well, which is Fire and Ice.
Fire and Blood is the title of the book that this was adapted from.
This okay, so Fire and Ice is ours, the original.
Well, A Song of Ice and Fire is the
Ice and Fire,
thing that
Ice
Game of
and
Thrones
Fire.
is based on.
Right, right.
And then
So
this is set in that
Fire and Blood.
world and it's called
Hmm.
Fire and Blood.
Okay, so Game of Thrones proper, we see Cersei and her brother, right? That's
Yeah.
an incest, that twincest, if you will.
Twincest, yeah.
But and then the point was raised like that was at least bearable for like people are way more open to that. But I don't. I never thought people. I think people are way more open to in a weird, very weird way. this than the other one. And I think the reason the other one, I'm sorry, the reason the other one is feels feels better to look at is because we're looking at two adults.
Yeah, there's like two well, one, I think you're never supposed to think that Jeremy, oh my god, Jamie and Cersei are good, right? Both
Right.
in the context of
That too.
you
Right.
shouldn't fuck your sister, and then number two, they're just bad for each other, even if they were not siblings, right?
Right.
And so I don't think, like, I never felt, and this is also true in Martin's material, that like the Jamie Cersei stuff was like really like good.
Mhm.
Um, but this, like, they really are like, this is
Horrible.
the central romance of the show, which is just full of like weirdness.
Yeah,
And
because it's like there's grooming, there's quasi rape, there's just a lot of disgustingness in this one. So it's just really, really hard to digest,
it
and it's
is,
hard to take.
and I knew this was coming. Like this is in
And
the
that's the
book.
thing. You knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming. I didn't necessarily think they were going to turn it into like these
The
two
loves.
like star-crossed
Ugh.
uncle and niece. Just, it's
You left
gross.
me.
It's gross in the book. It's grosser in the show. And like, I don't like, and I think like one of our colleagues like really put it out, like, I don't know how to feel about the fact that this show has again elevated this to the romantic lead. Like,
Yes, it's kind of weird. It's kind of
like,
weird.
and like,
It's
and it's weirder than the John and Danny stuff, because it's
they didn't
incest in a
know.
biological sense. They didn't know until it was too late, right? And then
Right.
John's like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Right.
whoa.
Wasn't Danny like
Danny was
pushing?
into it, but John was
Yes.
like, no, no, whoa, whoa, no, right? He's like, I will serve you as queen, like. And she's like, "Oh, really? As queen?" He's like, "No, as queen." Like, oh, that's like all their scenes in the eighth season.
Right.
And
Right.
I I just really uncomfortable by all this. And look,
No, it's really uncomfortable. I think for me more so it's because like we meet Rhaenyra, she's what, 12, 15, 10, and 5?
oh my god.
I'm sorry. I just had to. I had to. Yeah, when we meet her, she's like young. She's a
Yes,
teenager. She's
and the
young.
actress looks young as well. So,
Yes,
and she,
and when it first happens, she's also not over, like she's like 7 and 10, right? When it
yes, I'm laughing just again. Mo is like specifically trying to like. I don't like to
I
say this.
know.
He's specifically trying to trigger me. Like, I don't like you,
I
but
know.
that's the only
You
way
know
to
what? I'm
describe it.
sorry. Let me
Keep
stop.
going,
But
keep
like
going, Mo. Keep going.
no, when we meet her, she's like 17. When we meet her, she's 15. When it happens, it's like she's 17. So at no point in this is Renera like a full adult. She's not an adult, and even the time it actually really, really happens, it doesn't look. It looks like Damon is
It's like don't even groom the shit out of her. That's what it
yes,
feels like to me.
and and
Like,
and and her
it's
professing her
gross.
love, with saying that she needs him. It feels like Damon's grooming finally, like it hit. Like, it's just it's disgusting. There's no saving grace for it. But the show keeps like they're in love, they're in love, they're in love. This is our love. This is it right here. And it's disgusting. It's yes, I've gotten that off my chest. Is there
I'm
anything else you
also
want to
just
do?
gonna say this. I gotta get this off my chest. George R. Martin is obsessed with incest. Look, incest happens across societies. This is a thing that happens. Cousins, second, third, fourth, fifth cousins all marry the shit out of each other, especially Aristos. But people did not fuck their sister and get married. People did not fuck their uncle and get married. Like, that's just gross. Even medieval people thought it was gross. All right.
Hmm.
And Martin is obsessed with it because he keeps coming back to it. Not only did he build the Targaryens as this incest like dynasty, it's like every other story he tells, some pair of siblings are fucking, and it's gross, and I hate it. And like, I just like, it's one of the main things I hate about Game of Thrones, like a Song of Ice and Fire in particular, in general.
Oh
But
wow.
anyway, I had to get that
Okay.
off my chest.
All right. So we've gotten all of that off the chest. Let's get into the episode itself. Episode opens with a funeral. What's her name? Lena.
Lena, I
Lena,
believe
right?
it is. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Lena's funeral.
Oh.
I'm stupid because I'm watching. I'm like, what are they burying? No, not. I was watching it like, what are they possibly burying her ashes? Like, come on now.
Yeah, basically. Well, she
They
had like
just
ashes when in the last episode when Damon came out.
that's listen. What Game of Thrones has told us about Dragonfire is there's nothing left. Like, yeah, you're gonna be a pile of ashes, but by the time like the wind blows,
Well, who knows? Maybe Damon got a little urn. It was like sweeping them in. Maybe there's some sand in
no,
there because it was on the beach.
right, definitely got
Like,
sand in there. Because yeah, Pentos is a
I
beach
guess it is.
city, right?
I don't even want to pretend that I know the geography well enough. But
Right.
I
So
think it has a beach. I don't know.
yeah, it's prosperous because it's by the water and their mark
Yes, Drift
drift
Market.
mark.
That I do know is the name of where House Valerian
Yeah.
sits.
So they're drift mark, and they trade with everyone. And so yeah, Pentos happens to be one of the most thriving cities around the drift market area. So that she gets buried, and the funeral, like, okay, the funeral is beautiful, right?
Yeah,
But then
and both the when her casket hits and you see all the other caskets,
right.
that was very beautiful. Compare it again until to later when you literally can't tell what's going on.
And then you see her brother, like mourning his sister in the water. And in my opinion, the second best line of the show, go attend to your patron. Like, his dad is so homophobic. It's not even it's not funny. It's not funny, but he's just so homophobic. And it's funny that it happens there, and then later in the episode it plays up again when he's talking to his wife.
Oh man, that's some
And
intense scenes.
yes. No, but I will say this. Corliss shines.
This was a strong episode for him. There's
Yes,
a strong
Corliss
episode for
shines.
both of them.
Yes. Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra.
Yes.
Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra. Yeah, you gotta remember. I think the last time Rhaenyra shared a scene together that was really strong. It was young Rhaenyra, right?
Yeah, it was a long time
And
ago.
and then you see them in this episode. They don't really like speak to each other, but then there's this like intense like eye contact. In my mind, it looked like, again, Rhaenyra is mourning, right?
Yes,
And so she's the strong Rhaenyra, or this strong Rhaenyra we met in that one scene is not present here.
correct.
And then we move past that, and Jace, which I like Jace. You like
Yeah, I
Jace?
like both of Jason, Luke, and Lucerys.
And it's sad because they're gonna die, but
I'm
I'm just
making no
calling it.
comments, my friend.
I'm
No
just calling
comments.
it. I'm just you don't have to make any comments. I'm calling it. Like, I like them. I like, and Jace goes over. I think who says it to Jace? Like,
They.
go.
Oh, he says to his like because he says to Rhaenyra. Jace says to Rhaenyra, like, we shouldn't be here. We should be in Harrenhal mourning my like basically like my real dad. And Rhaenyra's like, shut the fuck up, kid. Go talk to your
Pretty
cousin.
much go talk to
And
your.
like
I love it. I love that he is so, like, he's a strong. Okay, let me just add a little bit of drama here. What if, right? What if he's not a strong? What if he's not a strong? And what if he's a Cole?
maybe that I mean that I don't think they're gonna explore that per se. Like adding another baby daddy, if we're gonna be like brutal about this, on top of that is like really much. It's too much.
But
Because
was that
also
ever?
like he's not
Would
that
that?
old. Like it's supposed to be a 10-year jump, and I guess he's 10, so maybe.
Yeah, wasn't. I mean, because it would have, if quote unquote would have happened that night. She got married. What the? Wait, she nah, never mind then, because she gets married the
She
following.
gets
No, no,
married some period of time later. Plus, like apparently her and Lenor tried a couple of
try.
times and
Yeah,
he
so
couldn't
yeah,
do
yeah,
it or
yeah.
whatever. And
Because he wasn't happy.
because
There
look,
was no joy.
no
So
joy, right?
he was shooting blanks.
Whatever,
Probably
man.
couldn't get it up.
The less I think about this
I'm
stuff,
sorry. I'm
the
sorry.
happier my life
Oh,
is.
That's Game of Thrones slang for he couldn't get it up. It's there was no joy. Come on,
Mhm.
Renera, just go ahead and say it. I mean, you're about to go fuck your uncle. You might as well just say it. Um, oh yeah, but so he goes over to try to talk to his cousin. Can't really say anything, and there's that things that are said, and she grabs his hand, and I'm like, please don't set up anything here. These are children and their
I
cousins.
think, I mean, they are definitely setting up something,
Of
possibly,
course
right?
they
Like,
are.
because she's also holding his hand in the last scene, right?
Yes, yes.
So lots
Okay.
of interesting stuff happening. There's some,
No, a lot.
like, I
So
mean, just Jace has some interesting stuff to do. So,
I hope so because I like these kids.
well, they're getting new actors, so
Yes.
again,
Amond and Aegon have a scene together where I think Amond's personality is starting to peek through. Because the last time we saw him, he was getting bullied because he didn't have a dragon. Now he's like starting to peek through. Like, okay, I think he makes a comment to um
to his brother
to,
about how
to his,
like
he's
you need to be nice to our sister because you're about to marry her, and then Aemon says, or well, Aegon says to Aemon, like, well, why don't you marry her? And Aemon said, if it was my duty, I would.
I would yeah. And so which okay, so when that happened, I was like, Aemon is killing Aegon and Aemon is taking like
Well, I mean,
I can see.
we
I'm
can
just
see what
gonna
happens
let you know.
here. So I
I
think
can
what,
see the web.
oh, go ahead. Sorry, Mo.
No. I'm just saying I can see the webs. They're spinning.
Sure. I'm going to sidestep the possible spoilers there and say
Ah,
that I think that
I keep trying to set you up. I keep trying.
this episode sets up like two aspects of his character. In
Hmm.
this one, we see that the first scene, this first sort of big giant scene, and the last major scene is like Aemon is of Rhaenyra's children the most committed, I think, to like
Yes.
the green cause.
Hmm.
And he's also basically a school shooter, which is not something that I came up with, but is when I read it, I don't even remember where I read it. It might have been Twitter or whatever. And I was like, that's so on point. Like
No, he does give off those vibes.
he does. Like when he comes back with the dragon, like that's
And he
kind of he's
picked
like
up a rock. Like,
yeah, which I mean
sheesh.
I guess we'll talk more about that when we get there. But I think Aemon is the most interesting character in this episode, besides
Yes,
Corlys. I
yes,
think
he
we get a
definitely is.
lot of who their characters are in this episode.
Yeah, I think, like I said, his character is starting to peek through a lot because the last time he barely had any words. He got bullied. Yeah, and he was rolling in dirt. Um, so the thing that makes this funeral scene amazing is within this small pocket, right? Because it's like 30, 40 people, right? But within this small pocket, so many things are going on. Like
Mm-hmm.
go handle your patron. And then the things that are unsaid. And then Damon and Viserys, Viserys is like, yo, you know what? I ain't even mad at you no more. It's time to come home. I'm gonna die. I need and I need family back. Like he's again. If anyone has rocked the wigs the way they're supposed to be rocked, it's 100% Viserys because
Viserys definitely has the best wig. That's where the money's gone.
I mean, but is it really the best wig? Because it's literally it's the
Well, I'm
worst,
just saying it's the most successful. I don't know if the best
right?
is the right word,
Because
but
it is. You know what? I'll go. Let's go with best because if anyone's wigs shows the characters like progression or regression, it's it's
Mhm.
100% Viserys. Um. Oh,
Oh, hi Stephanie.
hi
Nice to see you.
Stephanie. So yes. Wow. I'm lost. Uh.
We were talking about we were
The
talking
the
about the
the scene.
scene, the end of the funeral scene, right? And then it sort of breaks into two major vignettes, right? There's the Rhaenyra. I guess there's three actually, because it's
Yes.
Rhaenyra and Daemon, then Corlys
Damon.
and Rhaenyra,
Yeah.
and then
The
the
kids.
dragon and Aemon, and then the encounter with the
Yes.
kids.
I
So,
think
which
we
one of those three do we
kind
want
of
to take first?
did we kind of talk about the Renera thing Do you really want to go back to it?
No, because we can talk more about it at the end, like
Okay,
what their
good.
relationship
Because
is at the end.
yeah, all of it,
I don't need to
everything
talk
that
more about
happens, yes, everything
gross
that happens to
boning.
Rhaenyra, I think pays off at the end. The conversations that were had, it's like, okay, you betrayed me, or was it you left me alone and I was alone and had no one? I was forced. Da 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 da. We're here now. It's
I
gross.
always loved you.
Um,
Gross.
right.
You groomed the shit out of me. Gross.
You know what? You know what? If we go back to the first episode, and I think when he was putting the chain on her neck, and I commented on it then, you said nothing. You let me go through this.
Yeah. I'm
You could
trying
have
not to
saved
spoil
me.
it for you, Mo.
You could have
I
saved me.
know I'm trying not to spoil it for you or our loyal listeners slash
No,
viewers.
and I 100% love that, but you really could have saved me the trouble of actually having to like see it now. Like, cuz I thought about it, I'm like, this is a little intense for a neck, like just placing a necklace on her neck, right?
It's
And
gross
it's
is what
like
it is.
yeah.
Everything about
Um
that's gross. Just spray them with a hose. It's gross.
Okay, let's talk about the scene in the Hall of Nines. Is that what it
The
is?
Hall of Nine, I think, is what they called it. Yeah.
Hall of Nine, yes.
That was an
Again, I
insanely intense scene.
yes, I thought that was really powerful in the sense that they're now thinking about their future and the future of their house, right? Or well, rather, the mom is thinking about Rhaenyra is thinking about the future and the future of the house. Corlys just wants to he wants what he feels like was taken away from him back. I almost called it quorum. Who would I get that from?
Uh, you've been
I
following
don't know.
parliamentary procedure recently? I don't know.
Right. But that's all Corliss wants is that. And his wife is starting to see that that might not be, that's not the end goal. The end goal is securing your house at the end of the day is that, right? So the conversation ensues. When it's time, we need to give our son, you know, ownership of the house. Corliss is like, nah, he's gonna be the prince in waiting or the what was it? What's it called? The prince
He's gonna be the
consult.
prince consort or king consort.
Yeah, yeah, and that's his position. Who and he said he was gonna give the girls right,
So,
Lena's
so
daughters.
the way this worked is Rhaenyra said, "Look, you Corlys, you like at this, you should have said our daughter should have survived if she was here in Westeros."
Yes,
And he's like, "Nah, the Maesters would have done the same thing. Probably true." Then she says, "Look, we need to talk plainly. These brown hair boys are not our grandkids.
facts.
Um, you need to announce here with everyone here that it's going to be through Lena's line that um,
Succession
succession
after.
for Driftmark is going to happen. So
Yes,
Bela and whatever her sister's name is escaping me right now. Whatever the twins will
the
inherit,
twins. Hmm.
when you die. And he says, and Corliss says, no, like blood doesn't matter.
Yeah,
History
blood
only
doesn't matter.
remembers names. Um,
I thought he had a
and
point.
and also importantly, I'm not going to disinherit my son. So there's
Right.
like two like critical like things that tell you about their like relationship here, right? Where at the end of the day, Rhaenyra is choosing like her immediate obvious family here and sort of
Correct.
closing ranks, while Corliss like talks all this talk about like her claim being denied, but she is right. She When she calls him out and
Deep.
says
Yeah,
it's about you, not about her.
yeah, because she's gotten over it,
Yes, and he
or kind of. You keep bringing it up over and over and over
well,
again.
but also when he doesn't follow her wishes and says like
Hmm.
I'm not going to disinherit my son, is basically what happened to her,
Right.
right? Where she was disinherited in front of a
Yeah,
male.
he kind of was really shitty for that. He very very shitty. That was something. He never should have said that. He's kind of petty.
Oh yeah,
Um,
and ambitious. It was very powerful. It was an
and
intense scene.
it was an intense scene and something again that is a line from that scene that kind of is a thread that's pulled throughout this entire episode is when she says, "Let's speak plainly." Those brown-haired boys, like let's speak plainly, and then it's drawn out throughout the entire episode because okay, so like let's talk about the dragon real quick. Um, Claiming of a dragon is something that I think Game of Thrones has s- set up, but we've never seen it, right?
Yeah, it's not really clear, even in here, even with Amon and uh, you know,
Vagar.
Vagar, it's not really clear how it works.
Because I personally think, okay, yeah, he just flew him. He's a Targaryen. I'm sorry, he's a Targaryen. So they should be able to fly dragons, right?
Yeah, no, like the one thing that has been established is that like once a dragon like imprints on you, it won't take another rider until you die.
Interesting. That is interesting. So he force imprinted himself on the dragon, pretty much stealing uh Lena's dragon and getting the
Well,
biggest dragon in the realm.
yeah,
I think that is the bigger plot point. It's not just that he stole the dragon; it's that the dragon that he stole is the dragon.
it's the biggest and most powerful in the entire Targaryen family at this point.
Right. Um, he comes down from his ride, and the girls are like, "Oh, okay, we got to find out who stole our dragon." And I think this is again, we just in my mind, we just went from intense, 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 and then this scene with kids in it.
It's one of the big moments of the entire story. Like this is a very, very important moment in the whole story.
This fight was crazy because when you said school shooter, I was like, yes. He definitely reached in his backpack and pulled that rock out and was ready to take everyone
I
out.
mean, like he's just immediately like, oh, like he was immediately like, I used to be bullied. Well, fuck you. Like I'm
Right.
just.
I'm
It's
I'm
like
the biggest dragon rider now. Like you guys are gonna die all screaming and burnt. Like what?
yeah, you nothing means I'll feed you to my dragon. He like literally says that to his cousin, and it's
Yes.
just like Jesus.
They did jump him. I'm like, man, somebody needs to get a nice
I mean,
hit, but no one.
like this boy is like what 11 or 12-year-old boy who just has the world's greatest dragon, and a little girl slapped him. Like
Yeah,
no
and he
sympathy.
just
Like there's a lot of
went
internet
nuts.
discourse about like
Oh no no
she
no
hit him
no!
first. I'm like, mm-mm.
Oh no no no! I'm not giving him. No no no! I'm not giving him an out. I'm saying they jumped him when the
Mm-hmm.
fight ensued. I'm not talking about.
All right.
I wanted to. So I'm watching the fight and I'm like, someone needs to land a good hit. He never really got like hit. Then again, he's also been training with Kristen Cole, which is who's the best fighter right now, right?
Yeah, he and Damon are probably the two best fighters. Yeah.
Yeah. So um,
And
for the
Kristen
brown
Cole
haired
had
boys,
not been helping the the strong boys very much.
right, right. So because he showed aptitude in the fight because it wasn't just a free for all. It wasn't just oh I'm just flailing. He was literally like ducking, dodging, and landing like good clean.
And he even when all four of them gang up on him, he still
Yes,
overpowers them.
overpowers. Yeah, and then drops everyone to the ground. When Jace pulled out the knife, he was able to deflect and dodge it, and yes, and still land hits. But Luke, my guy, without a second thought, took his. I'm not even gonna lie to you. When Luke did that, I was like, yes. And my hope is
I
that
was like,
Luke
oh
and
shit. Well, I mean, I knew it happened,
really
but I mean, I knew it happened, but I was like, ooh, that's brutal.
they actually showed it.
Well, they I think they did it in a pretty tasteful way, actually.
Okay, because I'm saying they showed a dick in the first episode.
They
Like
did.
I don't
They showed a dick. They showed people getting
they
their tongues ripped out last episode.
yeah. So I don't
They
think
showed Rhaenyra's arm, which was really gross.
yeah. So I think the gross meter for this show is already like out there. But I'm glad they didn't do the kids that way. So yeah.
Excuse me.
And so now the meeting, family meeting in the Hall of Nine, which I honestly I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't see it going that way. Um here's my thoughts on Viserys in that scene. My thoughts on Viserys is, look, I'm an old man. I'm dying. I just want my family to get along. Like, I think Viserys, it's starting to click to Viserys that something is going to happen when he dies. And he's
Mhm.
trying, like, again, he's a peacetime king, right? So he's trying everything within his power to just keep it together. Just keep it together, keep his family together. And he can see that he's failing. And I think it's killing him more that he sees his failings. And another thing that stands out is Allison looks at him like a coward in the fact that his son got attacked, and he just, like, I forgive you, daughter. Oh, and I think she just, that's another reason why she loses her shit with Rhaenyra.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that was a good line. I think you
That was
really
a dope line.
you,
Well,
you
welcome, Trump.
welcome drunk. So you really get a sense of like I think what Viserys's priorities are, which he's maintained his promise to Rhaenyra. I guess this was at the end of
Yes.
the second to last the episode after she like almost fucks Damon, right? Where he's like, I'm
Was it
not
that
gonna disown
episode?
you.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
You're like
yeah.
my commitment to your mother is that you will become queen.
Yeah, yeah, Queen,
And
King.
he has a soft spot for her. And he also kind of like re-emphasizes it when he talks to Damon about like when you look at your daughters, you see like their mother, and that's
Hmm.
both a blessing and a curse, right? Like he is like all in on Rhaenyra, right? And he just kind of
Yes.
doesn't give a fuck about his kids with Alicent, right? Like
No,
he
no.
likes them, but like at the end of the day, he is not going to
Supplant.
supplant the like Rhaenyra. And instead of trying like I think the central political conflict of this and why
Uh,
oh that's gross. The like why Otto is a terrible hand, right? In the context of the show, is Viserys is like all about Rhaenyra. And instead of trying
mhm.
to figure out like how to accommodate his grandchildren to that world, there's lots of ways, right? Like again, it's all incest all the time with Targaryens. You could
Right.
marry, Jace off to the Helena, right? You
Hmm.
could there's like
Hmm.
lots of options that you could do,
Yeah, there's so many things you can do, and you
and he's just
choose.
no.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the central like problems of this is that Otto and now Alicent just do
He's a
not give
horrible
a fuck
father.
about what
Yeah.
Viserys wants.
Yeah.
And
I
Rhaenyra
think.
also
I
just is
think.
going to do what the fuck she wants, which is
And
also
and
what this episode hammers home.
and it's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that because that is one of the things Allison and Viserys and Rhaenyra have that clash, facing when they face off. It's like, you know, she's like, she actually calls her out on it. Like, you get to do whatever you want, you flout the rules, you do whatever you want, and now, like, my kid has lost an eye, and what, again, you get to skirt, through all of this. And I think it's important because
Um, well, to build on what you're
oh,
saying, Mo, like I think we talked about this in previous episodes, right? I mean, they both called
mhm.
each other on their bullshit in this episode, right? Where
Yes, very
where
much so, yes.
Rhaenyra, where Alison laid in Rhaenyra called her. It's like you do what you want. You have since we were children. Like you're spoiled and you don't have any sense of propriety or limits. And and then she says, "Well, Allison, you are just so caught up in your own resentments and self righteousness that you can't see outside of yourself," which I think is very true. Uh, he's both one of the weakest and also one of the like strongest in the sense that like he just does like the easiest thing for Viserys to do would be to just chuck Rhaenyra, but he doesn't. Like he has so many outs, right? If you
Hmm.
like the strong kids, Rhaenyra fucking Damon this time and the first time and now, and he doesn't, right? But he also is weak because he also wants to keep boning Alicent and keeps having kids with
Yeah,
her.
yeah,
Like
that's it.
he didn't have to keep boning her. Like it's a problem of his own making.
Yeah, he didn't have to do it in the first place. It's
I mean, he,
see,
yeah,
I mean, okay, so here's my thoughts on so that yes, that scene when they clash and they talk about it, I thought, this was intense. Like it was crazy
it
because
was very
finally
intense.
they've come to like this is the this is where their relationship is now. It's so beyond repair that,
Oh,
this is where we are. Um I think it's one thing for but here's with you with just like you. So I think when we leave that scene, when we leave the Hall of Nine, right? This is so many things happen within the scene. I just want to talk about one thing before we come back. And we go into Allison's room. And you have Otto reinforce again, which is when I sent you my reaction to that. I was like, he's a horrible father
he is.
because you have on one hand you have Viserys, you know, loving his child. Besides, right? I'm starting to look at Otto and think I feel like the only reason why Otto, because he said, "Oh, I never knew you. I thought I never knew you would ever have this side of you," right? He says that to her. You finally like shown like I think his affection towards his daughter is very conditional. Um,
Well, he has contempt for her, which was obvious in their early episodes up through when he tells her off when he's dismissed. It's like you can tell he's contemptuous of her. He doesn't think she has the
yes,
killer instinct, right?
yes, yes.
Well, look, I mean, the sad truth about Rhaenyra is she's been a character who, since the Daemon episode, has been primarily defined by her sexuality,
hmm hmm
which is
So
kind of
so
a problem inherited from the book. But
my thing with Otto is he comes in and he he's like finally I think in a sense he validates Allison in what I think she's always wanted because young Allison kept towing the lines, right? Young Allison would toe the lines, and finally she's almost picked a side, and he validates that, and this is I think is going to set in my mind the tone for Allison moving forward. She's finally gotten some sort of validation from her dad. She's finally done something right in his eyes, right?
yeah, where I think I disagree with you here is I think that what this sends is now the central conflict. So I think the conflict of Allison for the first half of the show
hmm
was, is she going to be a green, like, or is she going to like try to find a compromise with Rhaenyra, and is their friendship going to survive, or are they going to become enemies? And I think obviously with the wedding episode that was answered that they're going to be enemies. And now I think it's the question is like, how far are you to go, right? Like Allison, in both of these episodes, Allison has had really serious like political machinations that she's put forward that have, in the case of the last episode, like really deadly consequences for the Strongs.
Consequences, yes.
And in this one, almost really brutal consequences for the children. And she pulled like after each one, she pulls
She
back
pulls
and
it.
is like, am
Uh,
I this person? Like that's what she says to Laris basically. Where he's like, oh, I'll go, like I'll send my people to cut Jace's eye out or whatever. And she's like, no, we're not gonna do that. And
hmm,
so
hmm.
I think the central tension is like, where is her line? And that's what she's discovering.
And so you think she's going to be struggling with her line moving forward?
Yeah,
I think
like
she's. No, I honestly think yes, she does pull back this episode, but I think she's pretty. To me, I think she's set on one side,
she is definitely set on one side. I think
and I
like
think
what her
and
line
I
is of
think
like
she's.
the brutality.
I think
Sorry.
she's. I think you might be saying this from a point where you know something.
No.
You don't. I feel like she's gonna lean into it a little bit. I feel like she's gonna lean into the brutality a little bit. I might be wrong.
I mean,
Um,
Allison's characterization is much more complicated in the show than is in the book.
Interesting.
Do you think
Let's
she's
talk about.
sleeping with Christian Cole?
100%. Yes. What? That's how did you know that's where I was going? Because I was like, because let's go back to the hall real quick. So Kristen Cole and Allison pretty much played their hand.
King Incel here was
Yes. Yes. Whatever you say, my queen. Ugh, my Jesus, get out of here, dude. Like you're so stupid.
the rest of the
I
Kingsguard are so bad at their jobs. Like
yes.
they couldn't stop the kids from fighting. Like like the king's like, all right, everybody, go to bed, and the queen's like, no, Christian, you kill that guy. All the other Kingsguard are like, wait, the king said we're not
um,
doing this. They're like, but like Christian gets to chop some kid's eye out. Like, what is going on?
and I think the craziest part of it is when Allison pulls the dagger and she's walking towards Rhaenyra, or she's walking towards the children. The main Kingsguard goes, "Stay with the king," leaving Kristen to have like he. If Damon didn't come in and stop him, I 100% know one of the kids would have lost their eyes.
It's true. Oh, damn. I mean, that is what he is. That is
He
what he
is.
is.
He
A
is
scorned simp.
100%.
Yeah.
He is. He is because you know what I think? I think he's still in love with Allison, and it's one of those things where the
You mean
love has become
Rhaenyra?
like, yes, Renera. I feel like I've done this before, and the love has become like a hate thing. Only
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like at the end when
Look.
Renera's dying in his arms, he's gonna like, oh my god, I messed up. I'm still saying Renera dies. Like, and then
Well,
when she gets cut and I'm like, yo, she's dead. Like, it's Game of Thrones. She's dead.
Rhaenyra, let's put in some modern context. All right. Kristen Cole was all in Rhaenyra's chat, right? And
Oh
he
man, he
thought he
was in
got
her
attention from
DMs.
her. And then she tells him off, and he is just constantly, getting shadow banned after that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely in her DMs.
oh
And she was
yeah.
like, he's like, you know what? Now I'm okay. And now he's like, you know what? That's why you should text me back. That's why no one's gonna like you.
Yeah, well, he's the guy who thought that that OnlyFans subscription got him, to actually date the girl. But my friend, that's not how it works. That's not how it
Right.
works.
Um. Let me see. So, oh, and then the final, again, like I feel like every to me this episode is the strongest, right? And then we get to the end of it. Um, the thing with Lenor, where Lenor is like, listen, you know what?
I mean, was it 3 episodes ago now?
The
Yeah,
wedding
it's two
episode, yeah,
episodes ago. Yeah, right. Yeah.
yeah. Lenor comes in is like, oh my god, I missed all of this, or whatever.
Yeah.
No, no, no. Well, first of all, if we're gonna talk about Lenor, I have to mention this where Allison Allison is so petty this episode. She goes, probably dealing with one of his consorts.
It's just like Jesus. You just gotta like say it all out. She just like says it all out loud here.
But everything is being said out loud because I think I even missed this when Viserys asked Aegon, who told where he heard, you know, that these children were bastards, and he goes, man, we all know.
It's like it's
Like,
mom, bro.
I
Like,
I can't I can't even hold you, bro. Everybody knows.
well, just also like he's like looking at his mom the whole
Right,
time,
the
just like
entire
Amon.
time.
Like Amon was like, all right, I'm just gonna kick it to my older brother. Like it, he can be the one, and then
And
Aegon's
then her
like,
brother goes, and then the best part is me. Hold on, we didn't talk about this.
like I don't care. All I want to do is get drunk and sexually assault people. That's all I want to
Right.
do.
Like yeah, everybody knows, cause like yeah, that's a strong.
Yeah. Which again, like I think did I talk about this on the show here? In the books, Rhaenyra has dark hair.
Mm.
So they can more easily pass the kids off, right? That the dark hair comes from their grandmother versus
Oh,
like
versus Okay, so
because she's
yeah,
a
you never.
Baratheon. Rhaenyra is half Baratheon. Well, yeah.
I called it. I said it. I'm like, watch, Aemon is gonna be the king on the Iron Throne, and all of this is done, and it's not gonna be Aegon, but whatever. Um, so that happens, and I think now we can get to Lenor, who comes in after all of this is done and goes, "Oh my God, I missed all of this."
Look, you know, it is what it
Look,
is.
it is what it is, man. He's like, I missed all of this, so
Sorry.
what? Sorry, like, my bad. But here goes. My lover is leaving, and when he leaves, I'm going to refocus on you and the children. I'm gonna teach them all I know. I'm gonna make them better men. Don't worry about it. We're gonna be so great together. I'm gonna be the guy. I'm gonna be the man that I'm just sitting here looking at him like now, like
Yeah.
these guys are 10 and 8, and there's a respectfully like you've done like you are the most absentee father, and the worst part about you being an absentee father is you're there, but you're just
It
like
is the worst kind of absentee father.
right. You just all you care about is your guys. Like you don't care about your children. At least pretend to care. Like it's one of I think it's the thing you said about Viserys. Like he likes them, but he prefers like Allison. Like Allison is his daughter, and he treats Allison different from the way he treats his sons.
Right, Rhaenyra, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, I did it again. Renera.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I think
I mean, yeah.
yes. I mean, he was there when his lover got beat up.
Yeah, I mean that traumatized him.
Yes.
Like arguably I think that's where you're supposed to think that he like everything went sideways. If the
Right.
Knight of Kisses hadn't been killed, like maybe things would have worked out better.
Right. Um, right. Maybe he would have been able to have joy and given Renera what she wanted, some wet hair children. Um, what do you think they would have made mixed kids? Like, do you think they would have brought if they had kids, right? Obviously, the show went and cast. Okay, now I'm just doing too much. Back.
I
Let's
mean,
come back.
I don't know. That's beyond my pay grade.
Yeah, I'm just doing too much. Okay, but no, he I think the craziest thing about this episode, the way this episode ends is
Oh my god, it's nuts.
it's nuts because I was like, yo, she really like so now do you think because I saw Damon kill someone, right? Do you think Damon set it up that way? That way there's
Yeah,
not
they
like
faked it. It's like the joke I made to you in chat when you were doing,
oh
which was, the trope is, kill your gays, which does not happen in this. But instead, they have a new trope, which is kill your servants, because that's
right,
what happened here. Is they killed the
right.
servant, burned him, and said
Mhm. Mhm.
uh, that he was Laenor.
Yeah, and they finally freed my man from the ugly wigs.
Yes, he's
He's
free,
he's free
much
to
better
go.
looking dude
Right,
without that wig.
he's free to go. Um, and then Renera marries Damon. That happened with the blood, like all of that in front of their children.
And that like Maester who's just like chilling.
Right.
He's like, good idea. This is great. Yeah. The kids are
Oh,
like,
is it
what? Like,
right?
didn't our dad just die? Do you think she told their kids that their dad didn't die?
No, no. Those kids know, okay? The kids, well, maybe Jace definitely knows, right?
Jace
Jace
definitely
knows,
knows who his real father is. The
right?
younger one
Luke,
doesn't.
yeah, he's still young. He's still young.
They deleted Joffrey, I think, right? Because Rhaenyra only has two kids here, right?
No, I think she has. a girl as well?
No,
She just
that's
had.
Allison. So Allison has 3 kids that we've seen, which
Mhm.
is Eamon, Helena, and Amond.
I mean, then last week's show
Oh,
opened up
right,
with the
the baby. She has
yeah,
the
the
baby.
baby.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's Joffrey, right? Okay, good. They
Okay,
didn't
so
delete Joffrey. Okay,
she has
I
three
forgot about
boys.
it because he wasn't in this episode at all, so I
No,
forgot
no,
about
there's
him.
no baby. There's no baby in this episode.
Okay, so she
All
has all
right,
3 of her
so
kids.
and
So we're only
then
missing one Allison kid. She has
right.
1 kid.
All right, so what did we miss anything?
I mean, I guess I could talk a little bit about the book. So
Okay, yeah,
in
fill
the
it in.
book, oh my god, her husband Lenore. There we go. It does die, but it's slightly different. Just like in with his sister, she doesn't die. She dies after she miscarries in the book,
Hmm.
and um, but dies like trying to go to her dragon. Her dragon doesn't like set her on fire. She like dies trying to get to her dragon. So it's even
Right.
more tragic. Lenore like is even more is
Oh
definitely
wait,
kill
hold
your
on, hold
gaze.
on.
Yeah.
Are you gonna
No,
read
this
the
is
book?
what?
No,
I'm
I'm
not
just
spoiling the
asking
book.
because
This
this
is
is all
what
stuff
that we've
that
already
is
seen.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also it's just what the book's version of it was. Not no spoilers of the book. Urgh.
Yeah, this is all stuff that has happened. Okay,
Yeah, I'm
this is
not giving
not.
any future
We're
facing
not.
stuff.
Yeah, we're no future stuff.
No, this is just sort of like how it was different in the book. In the book, the question is, did Damon kill Lenore? Because he does die,
Hmm.
but he like just straight up dies. Not no like disappears. Like straight
Oh
up is
wow.
dead. The question is whether Damon paid his boyfriend to do it, or if his boyfriend just got petty and killed him. So yeah, Lenore gets a better ending in this than he does in the book.
Okay, well that's good for him. So don't kill your gays.
Yeah, that's what they were like. George really
Weird.
likes that trope because think about Renly. Think
Oh,
about
yes, he does. They're
that's
like,
like it's
nope,
like
we're not
no,
doing this here.
we're not doing that this time.
Um, what do you think? How strong do you think this episode was, and what do you grade it?
I think it is. I think the last 3 episodes have all been really strong. Alongside the second episode, I want to give this episode like an A or an A plus. I can't though because a large swath of it is
Because
literally unwatchable. So it has to get an A minus, just simply because like you cannot tell what is going on for like 25 minutes of this episode.
right, right. I hear you, and I just think based on what's his name losing his eye, I'm definitely giving this episode a A. Like this is an A episode. Um, yeah, I agree with you, Drunk. This is one of the stronger episodes of the season. The second episode is one of them, and this one as well. But okay, but yeah, like Roy, I gave this episode an A.
All
This
right,
is
awesome.
for
Sorry, I
me.
had to. Sorry, just
No, no,
pushed a
no,
little
it's
too
fine. It's
slow.
fine. I just did a solo layout. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely drama packed from the beginning to the end. There was all intense scenes. I mean, the scenes you could and couldn't see were all great. So, um, say hi. 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 But no, if there's anything that I would say was negative about the episode was definitely like the visibility of it. The visibility of the episode is it would be the thing that I hated the most. But honestly, this is
Yeah.
one of the better Game of Thrones episodes. I think. Oh, I also got a message from someone who was so burned from Game of Thrones that they almost didn't want to watch this show. And the message after this episode was, "Oh my God, I'm back." So this is doing its thing to restore faith in Game of Thrones. Now, season two, I don't know, but
Some
season
wild
one,
stuff down the pike. So
again,
it gets
you know,
wilder than Damon marrying Rhaenyra. Just let me say.
oh my God, Rhaenyra dies.
Hey, again, no book spoilers here.
I haven't read it. I'm just calling it like her blood spilled. It's a tell. Um uh let's talk about the little snippets we saw from next week. I think shit's about to hit the fan.
I agree. They're aged up again, so it's kind of a big jump again. I mean, one of the funny things about the way they've done this is like it's like Viserys is gonna die like the whole show, but
Hmm.
he's just like not dying,
Right, right. He
and
keeps making it
so
through.
yeah, we're on episode 7 next week.
No, 8.
8. Oh, so we're almost there.
Yeah, because
So
this is
yeah,
7.
big stuff happening. What would I rate the series? I can't rate it until it's over. Because like again, you had asked me like maybe the second episode of season
Oh, you
8
were
of Game of
done.
Thrones. I would have been like,
You
yeah, this is pretty cool. You know, they might stick the ending, and then you get those like 4 episodes back to back that are just garbage. So there's still many opportunities for the show to go sideways. So, you know,
right. I've learned from Game of Thrones to wait till it's done. Because
yep.
man, I think everyone crowned Game of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones was the undisputed champion on Sunday nights. It
Yeah, it could
it
beat
actually
football.
it beat football, and the way it ended, I almost I gotta be honest with you. I didn't think it was ever gonna come back, but it did. Um, the show is bringing it back, so I'll wait till I at least wait till the season is
Yeah, I'll
over
wait until the season's done. I think we'll do a
to
review. Like
see
we usually give a show an like a
yeah, series season review.
yeah.
Oh man. Oh yeah, we didn't do Lord of the Rings last week, but trust and believe we will talk about
Oh,
it
we'll
this
talk
week.
about it on Friday.
Oh, we
So
will.
I haven't even watched that
Uh
episode yet. I gotta get off my butt and watch it.
oh, please live reacts. Let me let you go so you can go watch the episode. But no,
And
thank you, Roy.
great. So that's what I gotta
It's
do.
it's I know you got a lot of stuff to do anyway. But no, Roy, thank you for oh, you're back. Welcome back. Thank you for making time. It's nice to
Always.
see you again.
It's
We
so
will
nice to see you
catch
again
you
too, Mo.
next week for episode 8, maybe the greatest episode of Game of Thrones ever. Thank you again for stopping by, Drunk. We'll catch you next week. Peace. Wait, don't forget to like. What's this one?
Dracarys. Dracarys.
Dracaris to like,
Oh no, no, no,
share.
no. It's they said it. Doharis. All men must
Yes,
serve. So Doharis,
yes.
which is serve. Doharis that button.
All right. Peace.